Hiring people with disabilities is a sustainable business solution that results in better business outcomes. Businesses with inclusive employment practices benefit from a larger pool of talent, more creative staff, lower turnover, and higher profits than competitors who do not.
Just because a person has a disability doesn't mean that they can't contribute meaningfully to the team, and they can bring maybe a special set of skills that nobody else has.
A number of companies are finding that when they hire individuals with autism into the right jobs, they often are able to solve what have been persistent problems with staff turnover. But there's also maybe a more intangible benefit to workplace culture that can nonetheless be very, very important. In addition to high performance on work tasks, they've also begun to see real benefits on workplace culture. The neurotypical employees talking about how great it feels to work for a company that so values diversity and inclusion that they can see some of their own loved ones, some of their own children on the autism spectrum, or a niece or nephew on the autism spectrum, or an uncle on the autism spectrum. They can see those loved ones having a place at this company that they work for, and that increases their sense of loyalty and commitment to the company. Those can be some of the most important ways to support your workforce and to activate their energy and their commitment to allow them to really bring the best of themselves to the work.
When businesses are ready to start diversifying their workforce, where should they start?
Honestly, ask yourself as a company, as a leadership team, why do we want to do this? And it's the simplest thing in the world to ask yourself that question, but answering it honestly can be the hardest thing. But it's very, very important because, frankly, if the reason for why is primarily or entirely around charity, around, trying to do something nice for somebody, trying to give somebody a chance that might not have a chance, those are all nice sentiments, but that's not sustainable. Right? I mean, in order for these things to be successful, they have to be sustainable and they have to be driven by a real business imperative. Once you recognize that there's a real business imperative and value to the business in terms of connecting with a larger customer base, in terms of making the work of your company more innovative by virtue of bringing in more diverse voices and teams, all these different reasons, all these real legitimate business imperative reasons, if that's what's driving it, then figuring out how to do it becomes a lot simpler.
After leaving high school, life is just beginning for people with disabilities. Engaging in experiences like post-secondary programs, vocational rehabilitation, and employment internships allows people to move into lifelong careers.
You want to get into a position that you enjoy and earn enough money to kind of provide for yourself as well, just kind of grow in the world, I guess.
So vocational rehab had helped me with actual pharmacy school. The Johnson City, Tennessee office is who I was corresponding with, and they are so great. It's like an extended family, but they helped me with tuition, technology, transportation.
The reason I wanted to work was because I wanted to use that education. I've worked so hard to get that education. I put money into it. And I wanted to train myself to be productive and, add some meaning to my life. Learning all about website development, learning about JavaScript, C#, .NET, all those things to make a website. But Chris Center was what taught me communication, practicing teamwork, using tools to communicate with people, especially in a remote location.
The experience right now for an autistic individual in the United States is one where there is an enormous amount of great support, interventions, therapies, starting from increasingly when individuals may be as young as 2 years old, say, all the way through K through 12 schooling and right up to adulthood. But then there's this sudden disappearance, largely, of appropriate supports just as individuals are getting ready to transition to adulthood independence and specifically into the world of work. And so the First Center for Autism Innovation was started with the idea that we could really have an impact in this sort of niche area where we have every year in the United States 70,000 autistic children who become autistic adults and face this staggering hurdle with respect to employment. Something like 80 to 85% of autistic adults are either unemployed or underemployed relative to their ability level. So we wanted to bring the power of engineering. We invent assistive devices and technologies together with the power of the market and entrepreneurship and commercialization to bring these technologies to market in order to reach as many autistic adults as possible. And we collaborate with major companies as well to ensure that what we're doing is of relevance to them and of help to them as employers to better identify and recruit and support neurodivergent people.
Job readiness programs like the Frisch Center for Autism and Innovation don't just help prepare people with disabilities for employment, they also support businesses in creating more inclusive workplaces.
Oftentimes, companies, corporations will hire a third-party entity to help them do, headhunting, to help them, source talent. There are finder's fees that sometimes companies will pay just to make sure they get the right people in the right job. Working with employment readiness programs, companies like the Precisionists that help to identify talented individuals, help to assess their talents and abilities and match them for the right jobs, help to prepare them for a transition into the job. It's almost like a more holistic form of scouting for talent. You need to have the right scouts to find the right talent. In this case, you also need to have the right scouts who can help support those individuals to make the transition successfully into the job. The Frisch Center for Autism and Innovation works with businesses in a couple of different ways directly. We've developed a virtual reality and natural language processing based job interview coaching system that basically has two purposes. One is for individuals on the autism spectrum to practice for that all-important job interview, to get some coaching in that all-important process of going after a job. But it also serves for companies and for hiring managers, for HR professionals, say, to get a real feeling for what it's like for people on the other side and how some of the standard ways of conducting job interviews can really disadvantage certain individuals who may very well be the same people that you're trying so desperately to recruit because they have the talent that you're looking for.
When people with disabilities are supported in the workplace, they excel, and businesses reap the benefits. Often the supports or accommodations employees with disabilities need are simple, inexpensive, and benefit employees without disabilities too.
We're all struggling with something, and just because my disability shows on the outside doesn't mean somebody else has a disability that they're fighting with on the inside. And we're all human.
I guarantee you, every company has individuals on the autism spectrum already among their employees. They might not know it. It's still the case that many people with autism feel like it's not quite safe for them to reveal their disability, which is a shame, because if they did, very often they might find that their employers are in fact receptive to learning what are some of the little simple accommodations that they might be able to provide that would allow that already valued employee to bring the best of themselves even more fully and more successfully.
Having an open line of communication is key, and understanding that everybody who has a disability is not the same. We can't fit into a one-size-fits-all category, and flexibility is huge.
I had one-on-one meetings with my manager on what I could be comfortable with, or what I'm distressed by, or what exactly would stop me from being comfortable to do my work, or struggling to do my work. So we keep a constant open line of communication, so that way I am in that mindset in order to concentrate and to do the best I can.
Each week I have a one-on-one meeting with my manager to kind of catch up, go over what I've done this week, ask her questions, and get advice for things that I might not completely understand. And it's usually a very relaxed environment. It's something that makes it easier for me to communicate with her, and something I can't get in a larger group.
What they give is timely feedback for the work I've done. They're honest, they're direct. They tell me, they compliment the work I do, and they give constructive feedback on what I need to do to work on. And I think that type of communication is vital, because I know they're genuinely helping me through the tougher times and helping assist me when I need it. And that in turn helps me learn and grow in their firm.
To have that all-inclusive environment, just awareness is key, in my opinion. I firmly believe that what I bring to the table can really impact the healthcare field. And just because my legs don't work doesn't mean that my brain can't.
Overall, they've done their research on what makes individuals with the autism spectrum. I don't think that they are able to get it 100%, but it's enough to know, how certain situations work better or worse with an individual, and they do their best, and that's enough, and that is enough.
The benefits are clear. When businesses support their employees with disabilities through simple accommodations, they thrive and bring new strengths to the workplace. And businesses thrive too.
All of that impact on individuals kind of comes along for the ride if you simply make the commitment to identify talented individuals, recruit and hire them and support them for the benefit of your bottom line. You don't have to think about all those benefits to the individuals. All those benefits to individuals, which of course we care greatly about, those benefits come along for the ride.
Me now in my position with Aspen RX, I'm able to breathe in between each patient encounter. And if I need to use the restroom, I can take my time and not feel stressed that, oh my gosh, if I'm not back on the computer in 15 minutes, I'm going to get dinged because I'm out of adherence. And it's just like a breath of fresh air.
I like the people. Not only do I really like my manager, as she is very supportive and understanding. I like the job coach, and I also love working with coworkers that are in the same boat as I am, because the NCOE is all about neurodiversity. So it's very interesting to see people that may or may not be on the spectrum that have similar walks of life like I do.
That is one thing I like working when I do, and I can get really focused in on it and just keep going. I definitely feel like the project we were working on was something I've been able to, for the first time in my life, to be able to contribute a little bit, something that's going to make the world a little better, and something that I can say, hey, I did that.